Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. And we are back. Now, I have never, it's been a while. It's been a while. I can't say never. It's been a very long time that I have been requested to watch and react to a video this much. It's been a very long time. So, what I'm going to do is play the audio. Now, the young lady name is Amanda Maryanne. She has a YouTube channel. She created a gymnastics themed video. And the title of the video is The Tanning of the Gymnastics Playing Field. We are going to listen to the podcast together. And I'm going to pause. I'm going to react. I'm 3 minutes in, so I'm going to rewind those 3 minutes and we're going to start it. If you want to watch the full video, please go to her YouTube channel. I guess I would figure out some way somehow to link her YouTube channel in my bio or description. Well, I've already shared it on my Twitter page, so go to my Twitter page and click on her video, and you can either watch it or you can listen to the podcast with us as a family. I'm reacting to the comments, and I'm going to make comments. So I'm going to start over. That's me dropping my phone. Dropping my phone. So we are going to listen to the podcast. Y'all ready? Y'all ready, children? Y'all ready, kids? Y'all ready? Oh, and hi, Oscar. Thank you, Oscar, for posting the link in the comment section. And y'all know after this, because this is about 30 minutes, I'm at work. They fixed the thing, so you might not hear a beeping noise, but if you hear a doorbell noise, I'm going to have to pause it and do work. If you hear the phone ring, I'm going to have to pause it and do work. So keep that in mind. I am at work. But we're definitely, after we do this, we're definitely going to talk about the Gymnastics Insiders versus the fans thing that I guess I started over there on the Twitter. Because we definitely need to have a deeper insight to that, because baby, did I create a can of worms that I was not trying to create. I was just trying to gather some understanding. And baby, understanding is what I gathered. There is a clear and definitely bad divide between the gymnastics people and the gymnastics fan base. And we need to fix this ASAP. Y'all may not feel like it's important to fix it, but it's very important if the actual gymnasts themselves dislike the fan base. It's very important if the gymnasts themselves dislike the adults who see the phone is ringing. I gotta put y'all on pause. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm at work, like I said, so that was just a brief pause. We are going to watch this. We're going to listen to, not watch. We're going to listen to this podcast, and then we're going to have a discussion about the gymternet versus the gymnast. Because as I was saying, it's a very important divide that we must bridge. Because if the gymnasts themselves have that much an issue with the gymnasts, like this is why they only focus on the little girls. Now it makes a lot of sense now the way the interaction between the gymternet, the gymnasts, the coaches, how all of that play out. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of dislike between all of that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So we're first going to listen to the podcast. The young lady name is Amanda Maryanne. Her YouTube channel is pinned right here. If you want to watch the video, go to her YouTube channel and watch it. But we're going to listen to it and I'm starting it over. So you ready? You ready? You ready? Let's go. I'm dropping my phone again. Okay.
Thanks to Nurex for sponsoring this video. If you know me, you know I am not a sports person. I've accepted my fate as someone who can tell you every Super Bowl halftime performer and none of the teams that have played. I've been known to ask questions like, so when exactly is March Madness? I've resigned to a life of being mansplained the term offsides. I'm just not a sports person, unless it's a sport that combines athleticism, artistry, and sparkly uniforms. I'm a sports person when it comes to gymnastics. I'm definitely biased because I did gymnastics growing up. I even made a whole short film about gymnastics, which you can watch here on YouTube. I love watching it. It's surreal. The way gymnasts flip, fly, and fling their bodies through the air feels like it should only be physically possible in an animated universe. There's nothing like watching someone effortlessly defy gravity, but as otherworldly as the sport may seem, for decades, the image of the ideal gymnast has remained rigid, thin, white, and girlish. While this image still looms, it's impressive how much more diverse gymnastics has become in the past decade, especially in terms of race. 12 years ago at the London Olympics, Gabby Douglas became the first Black gymnast to win the individual all-around gold medal. In the process, she became America's sweetheart and undoubtedly inspired countless gymnasts to pursue a sport that seemed once out of reach. In the years since, gymnastics has become more melanated than ever. In 2024, nearly half of the U.S. national gymnastics team are Black women. At the 2023 World Championships in Belgium, 3 Black women, Simone Biles, Brazil's Rebecca Andrade, and Shilese Jones, swept the all-around podium for the first time at a global event. And before that, in 2022, Connor McLean, Shilese Jones, and Jordan Chiles became the first Black women to sweep the podium at a U.S. Championships. At the Paris Games this summer, there is real potential for the U.S. gymnastics team to be entirely women of color or majority Black. This is significant for so many reasons, but especially in the context of gymnastics. It's an image-oriented sport where Eurocentric ideals of beauty and femininity prevail. There are rules and points and numbers, but image is a big part of it. This is typically judged through artistry, and art can be famously subjective. Dominique Dawes, the first Black woman to win an individual Olympic gymnastics medal in 1992, described herself then as a walking deduction due to things she couldn't control, like her body type and skin color. In the sport, gymnasts who have the international look are perceived to possess a higher level of artistry and grace. While it may seem like an innocuous term, the international look is thinly veiled language to describe gymnasts who are thin and typically white. These are the gymnasts who tend to thrive in the sport. So how did we get to a point where Black women are representing USA gymnastics at the highest level? That's what I want to explore in today's video, the tanning of the gymnastics playing field. Before we get into that though, I would like to thank Nurex for sponsoring this video. Okay, you know those days when you wake up looking really good? It's You can get in product in the description. Back to gymnastics. I want to start off with a brief history of the sport. Gymnastics has roots dating all.
Pause. So first of all, I want to say this was everything. Mama's eating her little podcast with her little information and all her little facts and stuff. It's great. I want to acknowledge a comment from co-host Ezra. She's not a gymnastics YouTube. She's just um, she specializes in pop culture. Correct. So this is completely out of the norm for her to even do. So going back to a conversation we're going to have later on, because of us as the fans, as us hyping up the black gymnasts, this is affecting pop culture. So I just want people to understand that shitting on the fan base, things like this wouldn't happen. But that's neither here nor there. Let's continue on with the podcast. Y'all ready? Secondly, to the white people who's listening, because I know there's white people who's listening who's get ready to tweet me about Makayla on her racist shit again, wanting all the team to be black. That's so anti-white and this, that, and the third. We're not hating on the white people. If you feel like that, I'm so sorry for you. We are just talking about how the sport is changing, how the sport used to be very, very, very vanilla, and now it's a lot of chocolate in the vanillas now. There's a lot of chocolate pieces in the vanilla now. That's all we're talking about.
All the way back to ancient Greece, where it was part of physical education and military training. The sport evolved over centuries with influences from various cultures and regions. Modern gymnastics began to take shape in the early 19th century in Germany with individuals like Frederick Ludwig Jahn, known as the father of gymnastics. Jahn initiated the Turnverein movement. Turnverein translates to gymnastics club. He opened the first one in 1811 to use organized exercise to inspire young Prussian gymnasts with a sense of national duty and solidarity. The Turnverein were centers for cultivation of modern gymnastics, where apparatuses like the balance beam, parallel bars, and vaulting horse were introduced. Competitive gymnastics emerged in the late 19th century. The International Gymnastics Federation, FIG, was founded in 1881, providing a governing body for the sport. Gymnastics became an Olympic sport in 1896 for men and in 1928 for women. But for the purposes of this video, I'll focus on the rise of women's artistic gymnastics, which traces back to the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union competed in their first Olympics in 1952. They previously abstained because it was thought to be too bourgeoisie. The Olympic movement in the early 1900s had members of the aristocracy and upper class disproportionately represented on athletic teams. The Soviet Union was a staunch supporter of amateurism, which derived from an attempt to price the poor out of high-level sports. By the 1940s, the Olympics had moved away from its aristocratic roots. The Games had become more focused on the common man. The Soviet Union was also in the early stages of the Cold War and came to see the Olympics as a necessity if it wanted to prove that its economic and political systems were superior to its Western counterparts. So they showed up at the 1952 Olympics for the first time and they swept. They would remain undefeated in the team competition for the next 40 years. Soviet gymnasts were known for their stoic demeanors and intense focus, but this image changed when a 17-year-old Olga Korbut came flying into the scene. Korbut gained international recognition at the 1972 Olympics, where she won 3 gold medals. What made her memorable wasn't just her gymnastics, it was her endearing personality. She smiled and waved to spectators, she cried when she performed poorly. She was cute, charming, and human, the embodiment of the girl next door. Some observers called her the world's darling and a Soviet pixie, while others praised Korbut's feminine charm. But it wasn't all preternatural, it was by design. In her memoir, Korbut wrote that it was her coach who devoted countless hours teaching her how to win over the public and make the smile a central part of her performance. It worked. Coming off her Olympic success, Korbut dominated media headlines when the Soviet women's gymnastics team toured the United States. The tour was so significant that the president, Richard Nixon, invited the Soviet women's gymnastics team to the White House. Olga's performance literally reduced tension during the Cold War. Corbett not only impacted the geopolitical climate, but the nature of the sport of gymnastics. Her appearance at the
Oscar, not only does gymnastics save lives, apparently gymnastics saves the world.
1972 Olympics is credited with shifting gymnastics from a niche to mainstream sport. Prior to 1972, gymnastics prioritized balletic routines over acrobatics. In the decade following Corbett's Olympic debut, the emphasis was reversed. Her popularity and success exemplified a shift in what was considered to be the ideal gymnast: feminine, tiny, and youthful. By the time the 1976 Games rolled around, Olga faded to the background and a new prodigy took her place as the Olympic sweetheart. Not
And 5, 6, 7, 8. We are
Ooh, an ad is trying to gather me. Ooh. Get your money,
Nadia
Amanda.
Comaneci. Born in a small town in Romania, Nadia began gymnastics as a kindergartner. By the age of 6, she was chosen to attend Bella Caroli's experimental gymnastics school when he was looking for gymnasts to train from a young age. By the time she was 14, Comaneci made history at the 1976 Montreal Olympics. She was awarded the first perfect 10 in Olympic gymnastics, became the youngest ever all-around champion, and an overnight sensation. She contributed to the trend of increasing difficulty in women's gymnastics. Because she was so petite, it was easier for her to perform acrobatic skills. She successfully performed the first release move on uneven bars, a maneuver in which a gymnast lets go of the bar and recatches it. Like Olga, a huge part of Nadia's appeal was her girlish appearance. Both gymnasts wore ribbons in their hair, and it emblemized the shift where gymnastics was becoming a sport not for women but for girls. While femininity continues to be important in gymnastics, Nadia Comaneci's success changed the kind of femininity that was prioritized. Before teen gymnasts started winning, gymnastics was dominated by women in their 20s and 30s who exhibited an elegant, womanly femininity. When younger gymnasts excelled by performing difficult acrobatic skills, the femininity that was prioritized shifted. It was a girlish femininity as smaller, prepubescent bodies could perform more difficult skills. This didn't
I'm pausing it here because I want to have a conversation about what she's saying. She's saying it very nicely and very politely, but I'm gonna say it blood cut, hood ass bitch type of way. What she's what she's getting at is, give me 1 second, I gotta go to work. My bad. Ooh, it's saving y'all. Give me 1 second.
have been historically masculinized didn't fit into either of these feminine ideals. Third is perform more difficult skills. This didn't change the fact that Black women who have been historically holdingly femininity. When younger gymnasts excelled by performing difficult acrobatic skills, the femininity that was prioritized shifted. It was a girlish femininity.
There we go. I'm so sorry. I'm back to the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make was, do y'all think she's trying to say that the shift that made gymnastics more popular was that they made gymnastics more younger? for predators. Basically, that's the message that I got for predators. Like, more predators was like in the sport, right? Gymnastics was sport. Because, they played up to the little girl charms instead of the grown woman charms in the 70s and the 80s. Just think about that. Let's move on.
As smaller, prepubescent bodies could perform more difficult skills. This didn't change the fact that Black women who have been historically masculinized didn't fit into either of these feminine ideals. There's no record of Black women competing in gymnastics at the national or international level until the 1980s. In 1983, Diane Durham became the first Black gymnast to win a USA national championship. She was coached by Bella and Marta Caroli, Nadia Comaneci's former coaches, who had defected from Romania to the United States. Durham moved from her hometown of Gary, Indiana, to Houston to train with the Carolis. She was their first elite American gymnast and helped the Carolis make a name for themselves as coaches in the States. A few years before Diane's historic win, Lucy Collins, a 16-year-old from Inglewood, California, became the first Black woman to make the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team, earning a spot on the 1980 squad. However, she never competed because the U.S. boycotted the Olympics that year. Similarly, Diane Durham narrowly missed her opportunity to compete on the Olympic stage. At the U.S. team trials for the 1984 Summer Olympics, Durham was in sixth place after the first day. Competing for one of 7 slots, she was expected to make the team and become the first Black gymnast to compete for the United States at the Olympics, but Durham injured her ankle on vault and withdrew from the competition on the expectation that she would be petitioned onto the Olympic team. She only later learned that she was ineligible because she had not competed in the 1983 World Championships and expressed regret no one had told her that finishing the trials on an injured ankle was her only route to the Olympics. Her coach, Bella Caroli, couldn't persuade the USA Gymnastics Federation to allow Diane on the team, and she eventually withdrew from competing in 1985 at the age of 16 years old. It wasn't until 1992 that a Black gymnast would compete for the US at the Olympics. Betty Okino was a prodigy who trained under Bella Caroli. She won the 1991 American Cup and was expected to make the 1992 Olympic team, but serious spinal injuries forced her to miss both the 1992 U.S. Nationals and Olympic trials. In spite of this, she was added to the U.S. team for the 1992 Olympics based on her performance at a second private trial for U.S. Gymnastics Federation officials and coaches. In retrospect, this seems like poetic justice for when Diane Durham was denied the opportunity to petition onto the Olympic team. With Okino on the team, the U.S. won their first Olympic team medal of bronze. And Okino wasn't the only Black gymnast on the team. She was joined by Dominique Dawes, who remained a fixture in U.S. gymnastics. Dawes medaled a total of 4 times at the 1992, 1996, and 2000 Olympics, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming the first Black person to win an individual Olympic medal and the first to win gold in the Olympics for gymnastics. It wouldn't be until 12 years after Dawes' final Olympic appearance that another African American gymnast would take the Olympic stage. That woman was Gabby Douglas, who competed at the 2012 London Olympics. She became the first African American woman to win the gold medal in the all-around competition. While the Black Olympic gymnasts who came before Gabby undoubtedly faced racism along the path they helped pave, Gabby Douglas was the first gymnast who rose to prominence in the age of social media, and as the all-around winner, she received unprecedented attention. Because of this, there's a much more detailed and accessible paper trail of racism, and specifically misogynoir, that Gabby endured. The day after Gabby's gold medal winning performance, people couldn't stop talking about her hair, which was slicked back into a messy bun and held in place with clips and gel. While it was straightened, you can see the natural texture of her hair because of her edges. Twitter had a field day with this, calling her hair nappy, ugly, and everything in between. Ironically, her teammates like Makayla and Kyla Ross wore their hair in that similar messy bun style, and no one batted an eye. Black women aren't afforded the luxury of being messy. It's a glaring example of how black women's appearance.
Okay, thank you, Oscar. I was about to say she's skipping over a couple of names. It wasn't just Dominique, then Gabby. It was Tasha, Eden, and your Hatch. And there was a couple of people at World Championships. It just wasn't nobody. It wasn't like the men. But she's doing a good job because she's not a gymnastics super fan like we are, so she probably don't even know who these people are. So ready, ready, let's go.
Appearance is much more scrutinized in sports. And in media coverage, there's a trend of masculinizing Black female athletes and attributing their success to animalistic talent rather than work ethic or skill. In a 2017 ESPN article, Paula Giddens documented this trend, writing, "What Douglas had over her nearest competitor, a balletic Russian, was an incredible athleticism," noted a reporter covering the 2012 Olympics. Douglas's nickname is the Flying Squirrel. Simone Biles possesses a freakish athleticism who is all muscle with jackhammers for legs, another journalist observed. She moves from apparatus to apparatus like a shark in open water. On a similar note, in 2013, when Simone Biles made history as the first Black woman to win the all-around at the World Championship, Carlotta Forlito, an Italian gymnast who competed, said, "I told Vanessa, teammate Vanessa Ferrari, that next time we should also paint our sand black, so then we could win too." David Ciarali, the Italian Federation spokesperson, wrote, "Carlotta was talking about what she thinks is the current gymnastics trend. The code of points is opening chances for colored people known to be more powerful and penalizing the typical Eastern European elegance, which, when gymnastics was more artistic and less acrobatic, allowed Russia and Romania to dominate the field." Use of the phrase colored people in 2013 aside, Ciarali's defense just doesn't hold up. It was Nadia Comaneci, a Romanian gymnast, who pioneered the increase of acrobatics in gymnastics. Comaneci's beam routine is a clear example of how the sport had become far more difficult than it was just 4 years earlier. Comaneci's routine included 6 flight elements, 5 more than Corbett's winning 1972 routine, indicating a large increase in acrobatic work. Whilst Corbett's routine had included numerous walkovers as her dominant acrobatic element, Comaneci included flick-flacks and aerials, elements which included flight and therefore a far greater level of risk and skill. Comaneci's introduction of the release on moving bars had a lasting effect on the sport too. This became commonplace in the routines throughout the 80s and 90s. Amongst critics, there's this conception that Simone Biles has single-handedly taken the artistry out of artistic gymnastics and placed all the emphasis on difficulty. After Simone dominated the 2014 World Championships, Bruno Grandi, president of the International Gymnastics Federation, is reported to have said, "Too much of the gymnastics he saw at that competition was acrobatic and not too much artistry," adding that he didn't want to lose the artistic aspect of artistic gymnastics. But it was the same grounding he advocated for the open-ended scoring system the International Gymnastics Federation introduced in 2006. The new system didn't completely throw away the perfect 10, but it added a difficulty score, which rewards students for high-level skill. Each score is now the sum of the difficulty points, which is theoretically unlimited,
Hi everybody, I'm so sorry I'm back. First of all, it wasn't me coughing. My coworker wanted to hit my vape pen and he was over there choking the fuck out. And now this damn guest is gonna cuss me out because the air conditioner in her room broke. And there's no maintenance at night. And I hope she don't think I'm gonna go over there and try to fuck with that air conditioner. But luckily for them, I have a fan in the office that I can let them borrow for the night. But I'm about to get cussed out. I know I'm about to get cussed out. I know I'm about to get cussed out because the people sound bad. I don't blame them though. It's like 89 degrees in the middle of the night right here in South Florida right now. So I understand. They could have cussed me the fuck out. But I'm going to have my professional customer service hat on and let them cuss me out and give them this fan in peace with a smile on my face and apologize to them profusely for this happening. I know they could have cussed me out though. I know they could have cussed me the fuck out. I know they get ready to come to this office and start yelling at me. I already hear it in their voice. And while I'm on the phone with y'all, I could tell y'all what I want to say. I want to say, I don't give a damn how much y'all paid for this goddamn cheap ass damn hotel, bitch. If you wanted fucking the fanciest damn services, bitch, you should have paid your good damn money and go down to the damn motherfucking Holiday Inn or the Hilton Hotel. But you wanted to be cheap and you wanted to stay here, bitch. So this is what you get when you stay in the cheap ass damn hotel. That's what I want to say to the bitch. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna keep my professional hat on and be like, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Here's a fan. You all can just return the fan in the morning time and I will have maintenance in the morning time when somebody gets here. Come service the room. I'm so sorry that this happened to you guys. You know what? I think, wait, no, because they have a jacuzzi tub in the room and they ain't going. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just give them another room. I think I'm gonna just switch the rooms here. Actually, I'm gonna give them a fan. I'm gonna give them a choice what they want to do. Hold on, they here. Hold on, I'm gonna get cussed out. Oh, bum ass, lazy bitch wouldn't even walk her fat ass to the office. Sent her damn 6 and 7 year old damn children in the middle of the fucking night to come get some fucking. I can't stand people in their damn badass parenting. But that's neither here nor there. That bitch didn't walk her ass to his office because she knew she thought she was finna get there at work. But I wasn't finna do it to her ass. I was finna be nice. I was finna be nice. Y'all ready to continue the podcast? Let's continue the podcast.
In the sport, but it's not just for
Let's go back a little bit.
Throw away the perfect 10, acrobatic, and the routines throughout the 80s and 90s. Amongst critics, there's this conception that Simone Biles has single-handedly taken the artistry out of artistic gymnastics and placed all the emphasis on difficulty. After Simone dominated the 2014 World Championships, Bruno Grandi, president of the International Gymnastics Federation, is reported to have said too much of the gymnastics he saw at that competition was acrobatic and not too much artistry, adding that he didn't want to lose the artistic aspect of artistic gymnastics. But it was the same Grandi who advocated for the open-ended scoring system the International Gymnastics Federation introduced in 2006. The new system didn't completely throw away the perfect 10, but it added a difficulty score, which rewards gymnasts for high-level skill. Each score is now the sum of the difficulty points, which is theoretically unlimited, and an execution, which is based out of 10. A scoring system like this incentivized gymnasts to perform more difficult acrobatic skills, and it's why Simone is so dominant in the sport. But it's not just her difficulty. She consistently has great execution. At the 2024 National Championships, Simone won every single event. While some gymnasts had higher difficulty scores on beam and bars, Simone still won despite having lower difficulty routines because of her strong execution. On events like vault and floor, Simone is essentially untouchable because her difficulty is miles ahead of the playing field. On vault, she fell performing her self-titled Biles vault, but her score was still the best because of how hard it is. The open-ended.
I'm sorry, y'all. Was this where we were at? I feel like we were, because he came down here and I stopped paying attention for a while. But I'm not sure if y'all could still hear it, but it was at a certain point I paused it because then he would start talking about like job business, and I didn't want y'all to get all that tea. But I feel like we wasn't this far ahead in the podcast. But I feel like she's doing a great job. Oh, and the link is in the chat. So if y'all want to go back and watch the full thing, y'all know where to find it. Let's go.
The scoring system encourages gymnasts like Simone to innovate on the acrobatic level. She probably wouldn't be doing these skills if there wasn't such a. This perceived loss of artistry in gymnastics dates back decades before Simone entered the scene and before the open-ended code of points was introduced in 2006. Bill Sands, longtime expert in gymnastics, Queen Catherine. She was the sixth wife of King Henry VIII. Gymnastics believed Komanichi was influential in treating gymnastics as a way to excel and perfect rather than perform. He described her as machine-like in her performance. It was agreed that Komanichi lacked Corbett's charm, but her technical skill made her unstoppable. Sands theorized that the Romanian team wanted consistent performance, so they would have fewer errors, but sacrificed the aspect of artistry to do so. This was a risky direction to take, as judges at the time were impressed by emotional artistic performances. Sands argued, the Romanians provided the public with real beauty, but it is the beauty of fine engineering rather than that of the more esoteric forms of art, such as dance ability to emote and ability to communicate a message. Sands, perhaps unknowingly, made a highly significant observation. What he describes is really a change in the style of aesthetics displayed by the gymnast. Until this point, two types of aesthetic movement had dominated gymnastics. The expression of emotion through movement, which was demonstrated in the floor routines of the 1950s and 60s, and the demonstration of the spectacular present on vault, since the sport's inception and introduced to uneven bars and balance beam by Corbett. By contrast, Komanichi introduced a new type of aesthetic. She displayed such technical skill, expertise, and excellence that beauty through perfection was created. In reality, this style of aesthetic had always been present in gymnastics, as the judging system was created with the aim of gymnasts striving for perfection in their work, a goal which is symbolized by the perfect 10. However, until Komanichi demonstrated this style of movement and was accordingly rewarded a 10, it was not considered as important as the other types of movement. Ironically, when viewing the comments on Komanichi's routines today, she is regarded as having a high level of artistry. They describe her as looking graceful, having fun, and a performer, unlike modern gymnasts whose routines are full of mechanical movements. I think it shows that context is everything. Compared to Corbett, Komanichi was robotic, and compared to modern gymnasts, her showmanship is incredible. In gymnastics commentary, artistry is often conflated with body type. The gymnasts who are most artistic are said to have long lines, aka they are thin. Nastia Lukin, for example, was lauded for this. And it's true, she had long legs and a great toe point that farther extended their appearance. Her moves were undoubtedly graceful, but gymnasts with shorter, more muscular body compositions aren't considered artistic despite having equally straight legs and pointed toes. While race does not determine body type, many Black gymnasts fall into the latter category and are perceived as less artistic because of their aesthetic. Black women with muscular builds often fail to thrive in artistic sports like gymnastics and figure.
The gag is when she was saying that part, she was using a clip of Jordan Childs, and it was the perfect context to what she was saying. I don't understand if she understood that that was the perfect context to what she was saying, but that was the perfect motherfucking context to what exactly she was saying. Mama ate that part.
Frequently labeled as powerful as opposed to graceful or elegant. With the introduction of the new scoring system in 2006, the difficulty element allowed gymnasts whose bodies were not the artistic ideal to make up for it with high-level skills. While the system was meant to encourage innovation, at times Simone Biles has been punished for it. In 2019, her double-double beam dismount was undervalued. While not as extreme, it's reminiscent of Surya Bonali, a Black figure skater who performed a backflip in the 1998 Winter Olympics, but was penalized because the move was deemed illegal because of how dangerous it was. Thankfully, Simone's most recent foray into the stratosphere was fairly rewarded. Her Biles 2 vault holds a 6.4 difficulty score, which is actually higher than what she expected. Like I mentioned up top, the main focus for this video is how the racial demographics of women's artistic.
Oh no, wait. I did something. I did a thing. I'm so sorry. I gotta go find the video again. But what I was about to say is, there we go.
Thanks, Jen.
I don't like this narrative that Simone Biles was punished because her vault was more difficult than everybody else. Like, I just think that's just unfair because that's just not what happened. They did undervalue it, yes. They did undervalue it, yes. But was she punished? No. No. I can I see why some people would look at it as a punishment? Maybe. But she wasn't punished, it was devalued. That's how I feel. Okay. We got like 2 more minutes to go. Let's go.
Seems one of the biggest contributors to this is simply representation. When a gymnast sees someone who looks like her succeeding, it seems within reach. While Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas have less than a 2-year age difference, Biles wasn't age qualified for the 2012 Olympics, and she wasn't a serious contender at that point either. However, she was well into her elite gymnastics career at that point, and still credited Gabby Douglas as an inspiration. While representation has undoubtedly increased diversity in the sport, one of the biggest barriers to gymnastics is economic. It's an expensive, relatively inaccessible sport because it requires a lot of equipment and coaches with highly specialized knowledge. I do think that the trend of increased racial diversity in gymnastics will continue, especially since there's such a high chance that the US Olympic team this year will be majority Black. It's really refreshing to see this in a sport that has been traditionally ingrained with Eurocentric standards of beauty and femininity. As usual, I would love to hear your thoughts below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
And that was the young lady's podcast. I found that podcast very beautiful and very insightful. Um, the only thing I seriously disagree with is I don't feel like Simone Biles was punished with a damn double double offer being. But other than that, Mama was spot on with her information, and I can also agree with Oscar. She missed a couple of black gymnasts in between Dominique Dawes and Gabby Douglas, but other than that, Mama was on point. Now, to continue a conversation that we started earlier, I think yesterday, the fans versus the gymnastics community. First of all, I want to say to everybody, we are one community. The gym fans need the gymnasts. The gymnasts need the fans, whether they realize it or not. Whether they realize it or not, they need the fans. If the viewers did not view, like look at ABC, and this year the viewers did not view on ABC, so I doubt that they gonna give that prime time coverage to the NCAA again, like they've been doing, because the viewers were just not there this go round. Okay, RJ, if you go to my Twitter, Oscar, I know you're tired. Could you get on? Because I just want to show some tweets. Because something, okay, because this just helped me realize this conversation that I started. The conversation started yesterday, and the conversation started by me asking. The conversation started by me watching the round table of Gymnastics when it was Jessica, it was Owens, it was Sarah, and it was oh God, I can't think of her name. The black lady that Coach Morgan heard. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just can't think of her name right now. And I asked the question because I got this underlying shade from that whole conversation. And it's been this underlying shade I've been feeling this whole year from the insiders in gymnastics. Like they've been very shady towards the damn gymternet and towards the gymnastics fans. Not the little girls who they view as the fans, but the actual fan base, us, right? And it's just been a lot of shade being Cleo. I'm so thank you, Oscar. Cleo. And so when I made that tweet, and me and Oscar did a show yesterday about it or whatever, I did it lightheartedly, right? Lightheartedly. Like I told Oscar behind the scenes. I mean, I care about this subject. I care about it a lot more now than I did yesterday. I could tell you now. Now it's like becoming something that I want to work on, actually. It's becoming like the Diane Durham thing to me. It's becoming one of these God has hit me with a new mission, I think, in life. But I really wasn't that serious about it. If you watched the show yesterday, I was really joking. I was making fun. I was reading, like I was reading back. I didn't think it was that serious. What made it be that serious to me today is a wonderful person I really love and enjoy, and I love and watch their gymnastics is Jackson Harris. He is I'm sorry, they were a NCAA male gymnast who went to that, it wasn't like the D1 league, but it was like a separate league and they just had their national championships on YouTube or whatever. And I think he made it to nationals, or he made it to nationals one year. And he made a post saying, I just saw a tweet asking what's the beef between gymnastics insiders and the actual fans on the gymternet. And he posted an example of Twitter person, and they made a compilation video of all the falls at the semifinals. Was it semifinals? At the semifinals at the NCAA Nationals this year, whatever. And he was like, this is example one, right? But then this is the gag, right? Okay, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Even I was like, I mean, Oscar, I really wish you would get and help me out with this because I think I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna get me in trouble. But I'm just gonna speak honestly. I'm just gonna speak honestly, you guys, and I hope to heal this situation. That's the ultimate goal: is to help heal this situation because we as the fans can't be going to these competitions and the girls hate us and they look and the guys hate us and they looking at us and snarling and like the whole USA men's gymnastics team don't even acknowledge gymnastics right now. Like it's we have to heal this divide between the gymnastics fan base and the gymnastics community. But basically, the person who made the video kind of was uh, replying back to Jackson, and there was another person underneath Jackson comments that was directly arguing with his point, and it kind of. I have two different minds on this. I had two different minds on this, okay? I'm going to speak from my heart right now. I'm going to speak from my heart. And hopefully speaking from my heart helps fill this situation because that's the goal. It's not to help further the divide. It's to help heal the situation. As a fan, my first mind is, bitch, suck it up. Ain't nobody told your ass to get on Twitter. You don't have to look at people talking about shit about you. You don't have to look up your name. If you see somebody talking shit about you, just block them and filter the damn circle of people that you see on Twitter. That's the wonderful thing about Twitter. Your Twitter account, you can be a very public person, but you only see the shit that you follow if you want to. And that's my very first mind. And I'm just being trill, being who I am. It's like suck that shit up. Like that's the price of it. Like we look at y'all as celebrities. You all get to be celebrities in these sports. And I get it, that was your worst moment in your life that you fell, but it wasn't the worst moment in your life. It was you made a mistake at a gymnastics competition. And a lot of these compilation videos are trying to make light of the situation. It's not that we're picking on you all. We're trying to make light of the situation. And it sucks that y'all look at it as us like making fun of you as an individual, but we're not making fun of you as an when the people who make these, and I make these videos too sometimes, it's not that we're talking other than unless we are talking about you, and that's the other half. Let me finish my first point, Makayla, then jump to the second point. It feels like sometimes with some of the athletes on the gym internet, they post and they skim past the positive praise. They accept it. They be like, oh, thank you. But it's when somebody be like, your toes wasn't pointed, that really hurts them the most. And I just don't even understand that as it's just something within me as a human being, as an adult, that just don't understand it because even me with this little gymnastics platform that I have, with this little blog that I have, people talk shit about me all the time. I just don't see it because I choose to filter it out. I know if I sat up there and chose to engage in all the damn shit talk people talk about me, it would make me feel horrible. It would make me feel less than. That's why I choose to ignore it. I don't understand why that's just not an option in this conversation. Like you can choose to ignore this shit, Like, you don't have to see the people talking shit about you on Twitter. You really don't. You can really go to. I really don't see shit people saying about me on Twitter because I purposely filter that shit out very meticulously. And I'm just one person. You all have old teams, and so it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. I'm just being honest. It just doesn't. But I understand that that is just my point of view, and that's not necessarily how everybody sees things, and that's not necessarily the truth of the matter. Is the truth of the matter that people need to be more kind about their words. I don't look at it as your worst moment in life, but just because I don't, that doesn't mean and doesn't give you the right to not look at it as the worst moment of your life. To look at these things that we're making light of as hurtful. And I think a lot of the times us as the Gymternet fans need to understand that it is hurtful. It is hurtful. Just imagine. I know we all was kids and we all tried out for school plays and stuff, right? So just imagine you were going out for your school play, right? And you knew you didn't have much of the chance to get the lead role in the play, but you still worked everything. You still memorized that play line by line. You still rehearsed and practiced because you wanted it that badly. And guess what? When they named the roles for the play, you were named as the what is it called? A lack of a better word, the alternate, the understudy. You was named as the understudy, but you weren't given the lead role to the play. But there were cameras filming the entire audition process. And every moment that you made a mistake in the audition process, somebody took clips of that shit and chopped that shit up and posted it to the internet and made fun of every note that you missed, every line you mispronounced, every name you misspoke. It would feel shitty, right? Even if it was 10 years ago, every time you saw that video, you would be like, ugh, why do y'all have to bring this video up? Ugh. Now take that same exact embarrassment that you will feel and imagine how these girls and these guys feel when we do these things. It will feel very shitty. That's why I have such a double mind about this because my first mind is it's a sport. That's what the fan base is doing most sports is talk shit. But unlike most sports, gymnasts aren't being paid millions and millions of dollars to enjoy that shit. Sure, it'd be easy. It would be way easier to come across Twitter videos if you had enough money in your bank account to them buy a 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom house, and if every gymnast was living like Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas, I'm sure those comments would hurt a lot less because they'd be like, okay, well, talk shit in your 1 bedroom apartment, bitch. But a lot of these gymnasts are still in 1 bedroom apartments too, so it's like we look at them as celebrities, but they don't look at themselves as celebrities. They look at themselves as regular people because, for the most part, most of these girls aren't Simone, aren't Sunisa, aren't Gabby. They live very regular ass lives, struggling to pay that gym bill. Hell, sometimes paying that gym bill instead of eating. Sometimes paying that gym bill instead of paying electricity. Sometimes paying that gym bill instead of, and then they got to pay for their coaches to go places. They get a small stipend from the USA Gymnastics, but that's if they're on the national team. It's a very different situation. I completely understand it, and I thank Harrison for helping me understand their side of the issue. Do I 100% agree with their side of the issue, though? No. but I understand it a lot better. Um, I do feel like this. As the gymnastics community, we should do a better job of protecting our gymnasts, right? We are a very small, very niche community, right? And I think it's because, unlike other niche communities, there's still this competitive aspect to gymnastics that it's only five people that can make this team. It's only one person who's going to be the NCAA champion. It's only one person who's going to win the all around at the NCAA. I mean, it might be a tie, it might be two, but you know what I mean. So people are going to always love the sport of gymnastics, and they're also are going to love individual gymnasts. And sometimes that love of individual gymnasts can surpass their love for the sport of gymnastics as a whole. I think that's one of the main problems with this conversation. No tea, no shade. I think sometimes some of the individual gymnasts seek out some of their individual gymnastics fans to be shady towards other individual gymnasts because they know that they can't, so they make their friends do it. I know that's a fact. I know that's a big fact. Um, um, I do also agree with the point that, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Girl, you was only 2 hours into this job, but you better not be on it. I also agree with this fact that somebody made under the post that there's too many parasocial relationships going on between the fans and the gymnasts themselves, where the fans start to think that they're insiders because they are parasocial friends with some of these people. But who fault is that though? That's not necessarily the gymnast's fault because they cool with their people who they are fans with. That falls on us as the fan base for um, taking things too far. At the end of the day, I do understand this though. At the end of the day, the gymnasts feel like there should be a certain level of respect that comes from the fan base that is not there. And I think we can start off with that. I think we can start off with that. I think as fans, we can try to have more respect for the gymnast. We can try to, hold on. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm still here. I'm at work. I'm checking somebody into the hotel. I'll be right back. I'm back. I can't believe y'all still stayed with me. So, I don't remember what the hell we was talking about. I don't remember where we're at in the conversation, but I will say this. As the gymnastics fans, we have to cherish these people. I mean, we do. We do. And sometimes it feels unfair. Sometimes it feels like, even with me and Makayla Skinner, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Makayla Skinner, I feel like maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on you because it's not your fault that you don't know what you know. But then again, I don't, because then you stay and do things on purpose and see, and that's a, That's another part of the conversation when like then they want to be like we're bullying them, but then they say and do things on purpose. That's a whole. That's, this is a hard conversation. I'm very much of double mind of it. I don't really know which side of this damn argument that I'm really on. I just understand that as gymnastics fans, we need the gymnasts. As the gymnastics community, they need us as the fans. If we didn't watch, they wouldn't have the marketing, they wouldn't have the endorsements, they wouldn't have the notoriety that they have. Then again, if they weren't active gymnasts, we wouldn't have those same things too. It's a very double-edged sword. I know we need to get better. I know we need to move past this as a gymnastics community. And with that being said, I think that's a great place for us to end this conversation tonight. I love you all. Thank you for indulging me in this solo expedition. Please go back and listen to this young lady's podcast. It was amazing. See you guys in the next episode of Makayla Loves Gymnastics.